what these folks do is they try to assuage those feelings because they don't know what to do with them. They try to medicate, self-medicate, whether it be drugs, alcohol, whatever. And this problem-solving court has many layers and many stakeholders that work with these veterans. So when they go through a veterans treatment court, there are going to be mental health counselors from the VA. There may be some additional behavioral counselors. There may be there's going to be a veterans treatment coordinator to work and schedule things with them. There's going to be a mentor, and we'll need mentors in the community that could meet with them once a week to make sure they're on the straight and narrow. Say, how are you doing face to face? You know, if the veteran says, I'm having a bad week, I'm just thinking of ending it, you know, and that's when you would highlight that to the counselor or the judge to get them back on track. And then we will want businesses that would assist in hiring them part-time or full-time so that they don't, if they've lost their job, they haven't deprived their family of any sustenance, because you see, families are collateral damage here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, there's a lot. There's a lot there to unpack. We'll start with hope, because we talked about that a little bit earlier. Let's start there. It sounds like the treatment court is trying to receive folks, right, that are in a tough way, and to remind them, hey, there's still hope. There's still a reason to get up in the morning. There's people who understand what you're going through.
Exactly.
You're not alone.
And these are folks, these are expert stakeholders that work with them, and the judge immediately he identifies with the veterans because he's been a veteran, and
he gets it.
Those attendees know that they have a respect for the judge because he or she has been a veteran. You see, so in the past we have not had one in Santa Rosa County. We have sent our people to Okaloosa County or Escambia County. So where the shortfall lied, we didn't have folks that believed we had the numbers. So
we got the numbers.
I believe we had the numbers. And our sheriff's department, I went over and I talked with them, and they agreed that they were probably not accurately accounting, and they have bent over backwards in corrections to come up with a way to identify the veterans. I gave them a definition, the correct definition of a veteran, even if they've served one day in the Army, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Navy, they are a veteran. They're entitled to different services. They are now documenting how many veterans come through their jail. Good. Okay, so they have told me that since November, as of last week, 94 have come through the jail. So the numbers are there. So the naysayers will see that the numbers are there. The important linchpin right here is the sheriff's office, because this is where they come in. They're identified with this aberrant behavior. The sheriff's office knows first that there's something going on, and they get arrested.
Right.
Now, the second piece of that I'm working on is the sheriff's office. There is some training that I have found with regard to veterans coming out of the University of Tennessee, the Public Safety Institute. I've talked with the director there, and they allowed me to take the course. I got a certificate of completion.
Yeah.
And there's some other training also to diffuse situations out on the street to keep the officers safe and keep the veterans safe. Yeah. You got to know how to talk to them. You don't come up and slap them upside the head and say, you're going to do what I say, because that's a trigger right there.
Right.
Shining heavy lights in their face and manhandling them, that is a non-starter. That's going to get more and more charges for that veteran.
Yeah. Let me go back to the numbers, because that's an important point. Because if you think about the number of people in Navarre that work at either NAS Pensacola or Hurlburt or Eglin or even Duke Field, right? We represent, like Navarre represents at those bases. We supply an enormous amount of manpower, of people to do those important jobs. So on the tail end, you've done those jobs. Now you're dealing with the effects of it, right? That's what we owe them. You know, that's what I owe people that go in and do the jobs that I've done, and even tougher jobs, right? More important jobs. I owe them in this line of service. Hey, I made it through, right? I'm okay. What can I do for you to help you on the back end? And I've had people come and, love on me when I get back from deployment, take care of me. How you doing? You okay? Do we need to pray for you, right? It's incumbent upon us, Carmen, to follow your lead on this and take care of the people who work so hard to save our country, right? There's a time coming soon where it's going to be the next generation that picks up that mantle and takes it on. How do we make it better for them so we don't deal with the same situations you talked about from Vietnam and before, as much as we can, right?
This is an interventional court, and it lasts 12 to 18 months. There are phases to it.
Okay.
If the veteran does not comply with what the judge has set out in each phase, then they do not progress to the next phase.
Yeah.
And if they complete all phases, then they get a graduation certificate and a chance to have their record expunged.
That's
and
amazing.
That's worked out between the state attorney's office, the veteran's attorney, or a public defender, whichever. They, depending on how he or she performs during that time, they have a chance of getting their record expunged, and I call that their second chance in life.
Hope is what that is. I love that. I love that so much because, and that's kind of just my opinions on mental health is, if you go in, and you've talked about this with some of the things with your father, in your life as well. If I go in and I go see, my primary care physician, right? Or I see my eye doctor, say, hey, what's going on with my eyesight? And he gives me some kind of treatment. Hey, you're back up to full speed. Great. That's awesome. But if people go into a mental health clinic, there's that stigma that like, oh, my career's over. And so they're nervous. Like if I go in there, I could lose my job, I could lose everything. So I'm just going to keep it quiet, right? But then there are these stories of people who go in and get treatment and then they get back to work, right? They're like, hey, no, thank you, right? Like I talked to a counselor, they helped me out. I let off some steam, got some healthy practices in my life. Now I'm back to work full up, right? More of those stories of, hey, this person was in a rough spot. Happens, right? You live long enough, you're going to find yourself in a tough spot at some point, right? This person got really low in that tough spot. What's the plan? What's the plan? Is there a chance to give them a way to earn it back? Is there a chance to give them some hope in order to get out of this so they stop hurting people and they start helping people, right?
And this is our opportunity to do this in Santa Rosa County.
Yes.
I wrote the justification for the Senate, our Florida Senate, and the Florida House. And awesome. I think
those are the pictures here. This is you continuing to serve, Carmen. This is you continuing to serve the community and the country. So that's her at the state rep, and the state senator, I think, was there, right? And you were at the delegation meeting talking about the importance of this cause.
October 24th.
There's my good friend, Tommy Nichols. I love Tommy. He's my buddy.
And I presented it to them at the legislative delegation, and Representative Andrade picked right up on it. He said, "Hey, we'll help you," and then Senator Broxton and Representative Rudman we'll see whether whether they're going to be successful getting 2 years worth of funding. But we have the military Judge Tony Giroux has wanted to do this for years and couldn't find the funding. And the Chief Judge of the First Judicial Circuit, John Miller, has assured me, I reached out to him, that if we can obtain the funding and get the manning to support it, that he will sign off on a Veterans Treatment Court for Santa Rosa County.
Most important question, how do people help you in this? Because you're out there fighting every day for this. How do we support you and make this happen?
We need mentors that have been in the military that would be willing to have a background check and meet with these veterans for 1 week, each week, once a week, for the time that they're in the program.
Great.
About 12 months. It's kind of like Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Sure, I'm very familiar.
which I participated in. And we need businesses that would be willing to offer a part-time job or a full-time job to one of these veterans who have lost their job or need to focus on their treatment. during this time that they're in the
And
program.
then they're in their rehabilitation
And to get
process.
back in the employment world to be able to support their families,
Right.
so that economically and socially and emotionally those families are not suffering.
Right, and it goes back to that hope,
Yeah.
you know, of having the, hey, if you continue through this program, you have a job that you can try, and you know,
Right.
you can start to get your
Right.
well-being
And
livelihood
I
back.
want to
Yeah.
go around and talk to the military advisory councils at the different chambers, because I think that they
Yes.
might be, you know, empathetic to this. But
I think
but
so, too.
meanwhile, I have an email. It is Veterans
Mm-hmm.
Treatment Court, the number 4, src@gmail.com.
Got it.
And I'll repeat that again. Veterans Treatment Court, the
Yeah.
number 4, src@gmail.com.
Awesome. And people can reach out to you on Facebook too, right?
They
on your
can.
Facebook, and
They can.
message you for that as well. And I can email that out.
And
as
they
well.
can get a hold of you, and I'm sure that you can get a hold of me to say, hey,
Yeah, so get
you know,
involved, folks.
somebody
This is,
reached out to me, and
easy cause to get involved
and
with.
and I would ask for people out there to add this Veterans Treatment Court to their prayer list, because this
100%.
is something that we really need this year in our county. We've needed it for a while. I believe the stars are aligned
Good.
this year for us with some support, but it needs to be multiplied.
Yes.
And we need more outreach and people saying, what can we do to help? We will need some donations eventually for plaques, for the service flags, for graduations. They
Yeah.
do a cake. They give
Oh,
them
that's gonna be
little
so
rubber
awesome.
duckies when they graduate from one phase to the next. And of course, I need to kind of oversee this, but we do have 2 former military chaplains that have surfaced, and we've got another guy from Navarre that wants to help with the chaplain piece, and that's a big part of it, because there might be a crisis or a family
Sure.
issue, and these chaplains are going to assist the judge in cutting through some of the challenges that
Yeah.
are going to surface.
To save their life. You're saving lives. Beautiful.
And
And
we
listen,
are saving lives.
you are 100%. No, you've made that. They made that very, very clear, and it's a beautiful thing.